guys, welcome back to my channel. Simone here, and today I'm filming my Booktuber's favourite books part 4. So yeah, today I have another 5 Booktubers that I really want to talk about, shout out because I love them all and I'd love you to check them out as well. And I also wanted to talk about their favourite books because a lot of them I actually haven't heard of this time, so let's get started. So the first person I want to talk about is a book blogger rather than a booktuber, and I'm getting into reading book blogs a bit more. So this is Valerie from Valerie's Cozy Reading Cocoon is her blog title, which I love. I think that's really cute. But Valerie I think has recently started a newer blog, which is this one. I think she's done some in the past, but this is the new one that she's got, and she did an amazing review. She did a really good review of Girls of Paper and Fire, which I really enjoyed, and she did like a weekly quote and some other stuff, which I'm really looking forward to seeing what else she puts out as well, because I really love her blog, and I can't wait to keep reading it as she puts new things out. So yeah, definitely go and check her blog out if you haven't already, and also go and follow her on Twitter, which is Valerie's Bookish, because I love to listen to what she's got to say. But quite excitingly, Valerie's favourite book is A List of Cages by Robin Rowe, which I received as my Secret Santa gift from Is currently reading in December, and I didn't know anything about this, and I still haven't read it yet, but I'm quite excited to read it. I believe I know I read this out when I did my Secret Santa book tag, which I'll link down below, but I think it's about a guy who in his senior year takes an elective to help the school psychologist, and he gets given the task of helping a certain boy who turns out to be his former foster brother. Yeah, who he hasn't seen for 5 years, and it's about that. I don't really know too much else about it, and I kind of don't want to know too much else, but this sounds like a really good book, and it's also not very long. I thought it'd be longer than it is. It's not even 300 pages. So hopefully I will get to this at some point this year, because I'm quite excited, and yeah, it's a beautiful edition of it as well. Next up is Books with Naheed, and I adore Naheed's channel. I'd only relatively recently started watching it, but I absolutely love her. I think the way she talks is very eloquent. She really comes across in a very intellectual way, and I absolutely love watching her videos. She did an end of the year book unhaul, I think, which I loved. I thought it was an amazing video, and she really talked about the books that she was getting rid of, without just being like, I'm getting rid of this because I don't want it. I think she really went into detail, and it made me really respect her in that way. I just thought it was really good. I love to hear her thoughts, and you know, she really puts thought into her videos, which I love. So yeah, go and check out Naheed's channel if you haven't already. But Naheed actually gave me 2 different books for her favourites. So the first one was The Nightingale by Kristen Hannah, which was my favourite book of 2016, and is probably one of my favourite books of all time. If you don't know, The Nightingale follows 2 sisters who live in France at the time of the Second World War, and one of them, and they basically deal with this in very different ways. One of them really gets heavily involved in the French Revolution, and the other wants to kind of like distance herself from it a bit. And yeah, I found it really interesting. It was really fascinating to see 2 very different sides of the Second World War and how people were affected by that. I thought the writing was really well done in this book. Like, it was just heartbreaking, but it was so like interesting as well. Like, it was very hard. It's so beautiful, and yeah, it was definitely, and it also has really good memories for me because I read it when I was in Ireland with my boyfriend and had an amazing time. So yeah, this was an amazing book, and definitely one that I would recommend reading. And the other, it was a trilogy, the other one that she mentioned, which again is another historical fiction, and it is a trilogy called, I believe the trilogy is called the Century Trilogy by Ken Follett. The first book is called Fall of Giants, and I'm really interested in this one actually. So I'm just going to read it off my computer, which is next to me, just a very small like bit on it. It says, "This is an epic of love, hatred, war and revolution. This is a huge novel that follows 5 families through the world-shaking dramas of the First World War, the Russian Revolution and the struggle for votes for women." That sounds amazing to me. I really love historical fiction, and although I read a lot of Second World War ones, I don't really read a lot of other historical fiction. So I think for me this is going to be one I'm definitely interested in giving a go, and I'm going to add it to my TBR. However, I have just noticed it's 985 pages long, so I feel like that's going to take me a while to get to, because that will be a slog, but I hope that I'm going to love it, so it won't even feel like that. The next booktuber that I want to talk about is 100% one of my favourites, and that is Rachel Marie Book Junkie, and I love Rachel's channel. I think she is so wonderful. She's such a caring human, and honestly, watching her videos, I feel like she's always kind of shouting people out. She really kind of gets involved in the community, and I feel like without her the community would be completely different and it just wouldn't be the same. And I absolutely love her channel. Honestly, I think she's so wonderful, and 100%, if you haven't already seen her videos, go and check her out because you 100% need to. And Rachel's favourite book was The Saviour's Champion by Jenna Moretti. I'm not 100% sure how you say her surname. I actually watch Jenna's videos on YouTube. I think that's her. Is it Jenna who does videos on YouTube? I really like them and she always makes me laugh. So as far as I know, The Saviour's Champion is the first book in a series, which I believe is called The Saviour's Series, and I think it's like an adult fantasy with some romance in there, which is not really a genre that I read. It's not really a genre I read at all, but I'm actually quite interested to kind of try and branch out a bit this year, so maybe it's one that I might pick up in the future. I know this book does have trigger warnings for like graphic sex, violent language, and like other things like that, I think along those lines, so that's something to think about if it's something that you're potentially thinking of reading. And I don't know too much else about it, so I'm really interested. I kind of like to go into fantasy stories without knowing too much, because I feel like when I read the back of a fantasy story it doesn't always interest me straight away, because I think sometimes it's really hard to do a blurb for a fantasy book, but I feel like this is definitely one I'm going to give a go because I trust Rachel's opinion, and I think this is definitely one that potentially is going to be added to my TBR sometime this year. The fourth booktuber that I really want to talk about is Kevs from KJ Reads Pages, and I absolutely love Kev's channel. There's something about him that's just incredibly pure and just really gentle, and I love to listen to him talk. He did a video where he was drawing, I think it was Lara Jean from To All the Boys I've Loved Before, and he was like answering questions at the same time, and just listening to him talk was amazing, and I just love to sit and listen to him. Honestly, he's so, like, I don't know how to explain it, he's just very entertaining, and I just love to listen to him, what he has to say. And I probably should have guessed just from watching that video, but Kev's favourite book is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Now, I know that he takes a lot from this book and it really means a lot to him, and Adam Silvera is actually an author I've never read, so I really need to do that. I believe this story is a young adult book that has a lot of LGBT representation in it. I believe it's about two guys who both get a call from this thing called Deathcast, who basically tell you that this is the day you're going to die, and then essentially they allow you to like meet up with people who are also going to die that day, so you can have that day together. And as far as I know, they both die at the end, and it's really heartbreaking, and yeah, I really want to read this. To be honest, every Adam Silvera book that I've heard the synopsis of, I really want to read, and for some reason I just haven't, so I definitely need to do that because I've heard amazing things, and yeah, this one means a lot to Kev, so I really want to give it a go. And the final booktuber from this video is Heather from The Happy Booktuber, and I love Heather's channel. She does amazing skits, and she's just hilarious. Like, honestly, I've never laughed so much as when I watch her videos, and I feel like every video she really has something to say, and I just can't imagine booktube without her, to be honest with you. She's just one of those people that just really kind of just makes me feel good about myself when I watch her videos. And she gave me two books as her favourite books of all time. The first is The Taking by Kimberly Dertring, I believe is how you say that, and that one is a YA sci-fi book, which again is sci-fi is not a genre I tend to pick up, but it is one that I am really interested in, and generally when I do pick it up I enjoy it a lot, so I feel like I probably should read more of it. And I'm just going to read what it says about this book here because I don't really know how to explain it. It says, when 16-year-old Kira Agnew wakes up behind a dumpster at the gas and sip, she has no memory of how she got there. With a terrible headache and a major case of deja vu, she heads home only to discover that 5 years have passed, yet she hasn't aged a day. And then I believe lots of things are different, and there are other kind of things going on. Now, obviously, I have mentioned before that I quite like the kind of amnesia trope, which again, I always think sounds horrible when I say, but I kind of like that thing where there's like a gap and nobody really knows what's happened, and I really love them finding out. I feel like this sounds a little bit like Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. If you check out my February TBR, which will be going up on Wednesday, I'm actually hoping to read that in February hopefully. So I feel like this is kind of similar along the same lines, and I'm really interested to read it, so thank you very much for that recommendation. And the other one that she mentioned was I Defy You Stars by Katie M. John. I believe this is a kind of YA contemporary novel about a girl called Amber who is best friends with another girl called Juliet, but then something happens and Juliet turns out to have been all a lie, and I think someone gets accused of murder, and honestly I don't know too much else about it. I may have also just kind of completely got the wrong end of the stick, but yeah, as far as I know, it sounds like a really good contemporary. It's one I definitely want to read, especially because I love Heather and I really want to read her favourite book because that sounds great, so I'm adding that to my TBR as well. So thank you to all 5 of you for being amazing booktubers, like I said, and a book blogger, should I say, sorry. Go and check out their channels or Valerie's blog, because I love all of them and I think that you will enjoy them as well. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel for my next one, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys!